Does pure water conduct electricity? If not, what can we do to make it conducting? Pure water is a bad conductor of electricity. Pure water or distilled water is a bad conductor of electricity. It is not going to conduct electricity because there is no dissolved salt in it. It is pure. If you are adding some of the salt into that water, it can be changed into a good conductor of electricity. Answer is no, because pure water is a bad conductor of electricity. We can make it as a good conductor of electricity by adding salt into it. In case of a fire, before the firemen use the water hoses, they shut off the main electrical supply for the area. Explain why they do this. When the fireman is using water supply, before using water supply, they shut off main electrical supply for the area because water is a good conductor of electricity. When fireman is using the water to put off the fire, all electric supply should be shut off, because if there is an electrical supply, the person who is using water, the fireman, will get shock. Water is a good conductor of electricity. When the fireman uses water, it conducts electricity and he gets electric shock. A child staying in coastal area, a child staying in a coastal region tests the drinking water and also the sea water with his tester. He finds that the compass needle deflects more in case of sea water. Can you explain the reason? The reason is drinking water is having less amount of salt dissolved in it and sea water is having more amount of salt dissolved in it. The sea water will conduct more electricity. It is a good conductor compared to drinking water. Sea water is having more dissolved salt in it. It will conduct more amount of electricity. So there will be more deflection when it is sea water. Is it safe for an electrician to carry out electrical repairs outdoor during heavy downpour? Explain. During raining, is it safe to repair electrical devices? No, rainwater is a good conductor of electricity because of dissolved salt in it. Electrician may get electrical shock, so it is not safe for the electrician to carry out electrical repairs during heavy downpour. Paheli had heard that rainwater is good as distilled water, so she collected some rainwater in a clean glass tumbler and tested it using a tester. To her surprise, she found that the compass needle showed deflection. What could be the reason? Rainwater is having dissolved salt in it. It will help rainwater to conduct electricity. Rainwater contains salt dissolved in it. Because of this, rainwater can conducts electricity. Because of conduction of electricity, compass needle showed deflection. Prepare a list of objects around you that are electroplated. Gold-plated ornaments, gold-plated watches, chromium-plated cycle and car parts. These are chromium-plated cycle and car parts. The process that you saw, electroplating, is used for the purification of copper. A thin plate of pure copper and thick rod of impure copper are used as electrodes. Copper from impure rod is sought to be transferred to the thin copper plate. Which electrode should be attached to the positive terminal of battery and why? During electrolysis, the metals will deposit at negative electrode. The positive electrode will dissolve into the solution. It is a process during electroplating. During electroplating, the positive electrode will dissolve into the solution. All the metals from the solution will deposit at the negative electrode, right? And the thickness of positive electrode will decrease. It will become thin, and thickness of negative electrode will increase. It will become thick, right? This is the process during electroplating, right? If we want to purify copper, that the impure copper should be positive electrode and pure copper should be negative electrode. We will explain with an example. The positive terminal of the battery is connected to this electrode, right? It is copper sulfate solution. This electrode should be impure copper and this electrode should be pure copper. The pure copper should connected to negative terminal of the battery and impure copper should be connected to positive terminal of the battery. During electrolysis, what is going to happen? The thickness of the copper will deposit here. The thickness of this copper will increase and this impure copper will dissolve into the solution. Now the copper is depositing on this surface, on the surface of this negative electrode. The thickness of this negative electrode will increase and the thickness of the impure copper will decrease.